The New York Times had a piece over the weekend about Senator Fetterman's mental health. Now, this has been no secret. He checked himself into a rehab at Walter Reed in 2023. But the point that the New York Times and subsequently the people that are leaking to the New York Times, his former staff, former chief of staff, is fascinating. The point that they're trying to make. They're effectively trying to say, well, the reason we knew that Senator Fetterman was losing his mental ability because some of his policies started becoming more conservative. I kid you not, that is the point that the New York Times, I believe, is trying to make. Let's bring our panel back. Andrew Gruel and Alex Stein are here to comment on this. Andrew, we'll start with you. The New York Times had again, big, long article about the concerns that his staff has. They even, let me read you a quote, or at least categorize a quote, or characterize a quote, saying that his behavior has been erratic. He even bought a gun. God forbid. That clearly is a sign of mental decline that the staff is worried about. Your thoughts?
Well, keep in mind that the crux of this article was from an email that his staffer wrote well over a year ago. So they've known about this and they've held on to it. So the reason they're bringing it out right now is because they're trying to go after Fetterman. Well, funny is it, somewhat ironic, but not really to us, that he was at peak Democrat acceptance when he was virtually brain dead after the stroke. And now that he's actually gotten healthier and he's starting to think logically, well, then they don't like him anymore. And so it goes to show that the apex of being a Democrat is right after you have a stroke when you're effectively brain dead.
I was going to say, yeah. So people who can't think tend to be at the top of the totem pole in the Democrat Party. Alex, again, John Fetterman, I think a lot of us, while he was running, would have called him a freaking socialist, probably because he has said as much himself, it seems like. But nowadays, kind of starting to surprise a lot of people. It's been happening for a while. Do you think the push to belittle his opinion in stuff like this is going to continue the more, I guess, conservative beliefs he believes to have?
Well, I have teased John Fetterman a lot for his outfits and the fact that, he doesn't, really hold up much decorum when he is presenting himself, as a senator. But when it comes to John Fetterman, we have to remember that he is from Pennsylvania. You know who's in Pennsylvania? Philadelphia Eagles fans. I mean, if the people in Philly is the point I'm trying to make is these are normal people. These, we all try to think there's like libtards and crazy leftists. These are people that like the Philadelphia Eagles. These are people like the Philadelphia Phillies, and he actually relates to those people. So him being just a little bit more moderate, of course, they're going to attack his ability to think, and they're going to say that he's, losing his cognitive ability, which in reality, I think he's just the same guy. He's always kind of been an idiot, but his true colors are just coming out more, and he's just a normal everyday guy. He's obviously a victim of his own success. He doesn't want to be a politician. He can't even put on nice pants or a jacket. So he probably hates having to go in that building and see everybody dressed all nice. Yeah, I'm saying, Chef Gruel, I admit that. You go in those councils, you want to look nice. You're conducting serious business. Could you imagine you're at the top political position and you're in sweatpants? Mm-hmm. You would have to. The only reason you would do that is if you're a little mentally ill. So I don't disagree that he's got a little screw loose, but I think he's a normal guy and probably not a bad one at that.
One of the first comments I got at a city council meeting that was directed specifically to me was an older gentleman who said, "Well, I don't like you and I don't agree with you, Mr. Gruel. I appreciate that you wore a suit."
It means everything. That's why I wear a suit, because I'm a total freak. But if I wear the suit, they give me a little more respect. I don't understand why this guy wouldn't just go to a big and tall store and order 10 suits that fit him. He would get so much more respect. But he doesn't have he doesn't have the self-esteem. There is something inside of him. I don't know if it's a cognitive issue, but he does probably suffer from depression. Because, I mean, Chef Gruel, you go to that nice restaurant. Could you imagine? I'm sure you have repeat customers that are super wealthy that dress down. That their whole gimmick is they don't want to dress nice. But when you're conducting serious business, like going to a wedding or a funeral, there's sometimes you have to dress nice, whether you want to or not. And I would think being a senator, you would have to dress nice, right? I mean, isn't that insane that he's wearing that type of those clothing, for serious governmental business?
Yeah.
The depression draws back to the wife. Another episode for another time. I'm telling you, there's something going on there.
The cognitive decline, I think, hits it on the head, and both his wife specifically, because she's the real crazy one.